Should you buy Redfall? Redfall is the latest game from Arkane. Yes, the developers behind amazing games like Dishonored 1 and 2, as well as one of the most overlooked games of the last few years, the Prey reboot. To say Arkane has some serious problems right now would be an understatement. Dishonored 2, which I just played, is one of the best stealth action games out there right now. It has pretty great AI, the combat feels great and is flashy, and the level design, especially for 2 levels, is nothing less than incredible. Prey is one of the most immersive sims you can play today as well, combining excellent environmental storytelling with an intricately crafted world to explore, along with almost pitch perfect pacing. Redfall has none of that. Redfall is more akin to games like Fallout 76, a cool idea executed with a pencil. Not an axe or a guillotine, a pencil. I knew going in Redfall wasn't going to be great. I knew it was probably Arkane's worst game to date, but Jesus Christ, I did not expect it to be this bad.
Those helicopters, bellwether protection services.
Redfall's presentation is god-awful. Cutscenes don't exist, they are still images that someone could make in Photoshop and then keyframe it to move in Premiere Pro. Maybe I'm being a bit too critical there, not quite like that, but you get what I'm saying. Redfall follows 4 different characters you can pick from, each with their own abilities, some useful and some are just worthless, and their names I just can't remember because they are too boring to, remember, I can't be asked. The whole story goes like this: vampires attack and you need to stop the vampires by killing the big bad vampire. Yep. That's it. The Twilight series has a more interesting plot. Come on. Most of the story is mainly told through notes you can pick up and little audio bits you can listen to, both of which are super mind-numbingly boring, but when you do get some actual storytelling going, it's awful. I bet you thought I was going to say it was good. Nope. Everything in this story is either mediocre, schlock, or just terrible. The voice acting lacks basic direction, they all just talk, you know what I mean? Like, you can tell they just stood up in a booth, said their lines with no emotion or any intrigue or any passion. I mean, your home is attacked by vampires and your reaction is to make stupid jokes which repeat every time you kill a vampire. Every time. Redfall lacks soul, passion, and honestly, I'm gonna have to say it, talent. I hate saying that because Arkane are fantastic developers, but it's like they had a gun to their heads, so they made the most generic piss-poor attempt at a story and just said that will do. Like, there's no effort here. Now, it's not all terrible. There are some very small, little decent story bits that are told through gameplay. For example, you have to explore a mansion and you discover some story bits through a dreamlike state, which is cool, but it's been done to death. How many times have you seen the same elements of a story being told through these flashback dreamlike sequences in games? Everyone seems to do it now. They even forced it into Spider-Man 2018 when Peter gets poisoned, so it's nothing new and nothing really worth talking about. Redfall's story is red awful and lacks any sense of stakes, cohesion, or any real care when it comes to telling a well-rounded story. This is as bad as it gets for a game sold at a full price, which is £70 here in the UK, which is actually about $85 according to Google right now for the basic version, the standard edition. So yeah, that should tell you everything. Okay, so everything I said about the story was pretty bad, but don't worry, it gets worse. Redfall is set in this tiny map at the start of the game and then you unlock a second section. The map is lifeless, full of empty houses, empty streets with almost nothing to do. You can unlock safe houses to fast travel too, but the map is so small you might as well not bother. You unlock those safe houses by doing a basic puzzle, which is usually turn on a generator and move on. So yeah, it's pretty damn lackluster. There are no vehicles or any sort of transport, you just run to an area, shoot stuff and teleport back to your base to do another mission. There are no interesting random events, no cool areas to explore for new loot, no friendly AI exploring the world to team up with, no hidden locations, no interesting enemies to take on, almost no side missions, and no collectibles pretty much. There's nothing here. Our Discord has more interactivity and we barely talk. Oh yeah, Discord link in the description by the way if you want to join the 80 of us that are in there. Come join us, please, come. We want more people, come join us, you can join us, come on. The world itself looks awful. The visuals throw you back to the late 360 days. Textures either aren't loading or look as detailed as Redfall's plot. Entire environments lack any kind of real detail that makes me believe this was a living, breathing place. It's like a load of shit textures were thrown all over the map to make up a playable space that's supposed to resemble some sort of town. And AI could probably do better at this point. I don't want to say that because AI is ruining everything, but that's my opinion. But the point is, it's soulless and it's just lacking any sort of care. Environment variety is non-existent. You explore hills and streets and maybe the occasional building, all of which look identical most of the time, resulting in more deja vu rather than dopamine you should be getting from exploring these areas. It doesn't help that levels are set in these areas as well. The level design from Prey and Dishonored, it's just gone. This is the most straight to DVD level design I've experienced in years. You walk to an area, go upstairs, downstairs or straight, shoot some enemies, and that's it. There hasn't been a single memorable level. I just finished recording footage yesterday and I can't remember what level I just did. It's so boring. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Let's just move on. The gunplay is genuinely awful. It feels like you're shooting PP guns, it sounds like crap. The weapon variety is almost just non-existent. You get assault rifles, pistols, shotguns and snipers, all your basic stuff. But when you unlock new weapons, it's just a variant of the same assault rifle. I haven't seen an AK or an actual M4 or a different kind of pistol. Apart from a revolver, you can get 2 different pistols. You can get like an M9 looking weapon and you can get a revolver. That's about it for pistols. And shotguns, you can, you get the double barrel and then you've got the automatic stuff. It's the most basic kind of gunplay and gun customization you could choose to develop, you know what I mean? I thought Deathloop's gun variety was really lacking. I still enjoyed that game, but it was definitely not Arkane's best work. But Redfall makes it look like a masterpiece. And that game's all about repetition, so you get bored pretty easily, but Redfall is even more boring. It's insane. Enemy design is an absolute joke as well. You have basic vampires that just teleport and charge at you. You have basic human enemies that don't actually shoot at you most of the time and just walk mindlessly into areas staring directly at you. You do have vampires with slightly different abilities like shields, but it's nothing new. Ubisoft could make better enemy design, and that's saying something. You have a charger vampire that spawns occasionally to punish you for actually doing objectives, and that's about it. It's like Left 4 Dead 2's charger, you know what I mean? It just charges you, and that's that, and it shoots a bit of lightning. It's really basic. So what? You get 3 or 4 vampire designs and 1 human enemy that uses different weapons like snipers and pistols. That's seriously it, but I could forgive it if the AI was challenging, but it's just not. Now those of you who have watched this channel for a while will know that I absolutely hate, I despise shit AI. I can't stand it most of the time, and I'm not talking about like the AI stuff that we're seeing right now. I'm talking about just basic gameplay AI. I know someone's going to comment, oh, what do you mean by AI? Shut up. And Redfall might have the worst AI I have seen in a AAA game ever. It's god-awful, it's a joke, it's despicable even. Redfall doesn't even play like a game, it feels like it's on rails most of the time. Lego Batman is probably harder. I don't know what I just don't know what went wrong at Arkane, because their AI in Dishonored 1 and 2 and Prey most of the time was pretty amazing actually. Like they react, they team up, they group together, they do everything, but here they just walk into rooms, they don't jet corners, they stare directly at you and just scream at you, and they don't shoot. I just don't understand. How did anyone let this game get released? And lastly, we're going to talk about the performance, because I just don't want to talk about Redfall ever again. This should be a short review. I don't think it is actually, it's quite long because I've been ranting. This is one of the worst launches I've ever experienced while I've had this channel. Frame drops, complete slowdowns, freeze frames, crashes, barely hitting 60 FPS on the lowest settings with DLSS unbalanced, with an RTX 3060 Ti. This is just unacceptable and almost scam territory. I could barely push through Redfall because of this. You thought Jedi Survival was bad with your frame drops to like 40 frames per second? Nah, Redfall takes the cake for some of the worst performance I've ever experienced. It's like sitting through a bloody slideshow most of the time. It is terrible. Redfall is a joke. I'm not even going to try and end this with a joke or just have a bit of a laugh or just say, oh, it could have been better. I don't think it could have been better. From the very foundation, this game does not work. I don't know what engine they used. I didn't bother to check it out. I don't know if they're using Unreal Engine. I don't know if they're using their own in-house engine. I don't know. But the point is, it doesn't work, and the foundation should have been spotted straight away that this was not going to work. A £70 joke is what Redfall is, and that should never have been released. It's a game on rails set in a dead world with almost no passion or talent behind it. It lacks any sort of engaging or emergent gameplay, and it feels like you're being tortured every second you play it. Arkane, I'm sorry, but this is one of the worst games I've ever played, and Arkane seriously needs a shake-up in direction. It's a damn shame, and I hope their next game gets the care and passion it deserves. Especially for 70 bloody quid. Don't buy Redfall. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, smash that like button, and maybe even stick around by subscribing. Thanks again.